Hi, everyone, and welcome back. So, today I have with me a wordsmith, a Jediah of words, a fighter, a philosopher, a champion bare knuckle boxer, and warrior poet, Dean Smudger Smith. I cyber met Dean through this very channel, and that word itself we can break down to channel, the crystalline act of serving as a medium through which a spirit can guide, communicate with the living. And we have been guided by spirit, have we not, to this point? To dissect, to reveal, and to shine light upon the construct of language, and indeed the very construct itself, the zodiacal wheel of time and beyond. Dean's story is as colourful as his language decoding skills, and his etymological decodes and comments upon our channel have guided us to be here with one another today. So, Dean, thank you so much for joining me. I believe you're in Glastonbury at the moment, so thanks for taking the time out on the
Yeah,
solstice.
man. It's been a good solstice, and I get down here every solstice in 2021, and just found a massive spiritual family down here, and we're all connecting very well, and we're spreading the word, we're finding out information from each other, and then we're going off to our local areas where we're from, and we're passing that information on again. So it's just it's a lovely network of people that are non-judgmental. But we see that we've all got have a bit of uniqueness, and we've got to be very unique, in fact, and we actually celebrate that instead of pointing fingers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's a really good point, really, because obviously there's a lot of division, and that is the key tool that they use: mass migration, division, getting us all separated, getting us all pointing fingers and not liking each other, etc. And the beat goes
Yes.
on, really. But yeah, I mean, it's a shame I couldn't come down to. I was planning on being there myself this year, but as we said off camera, you've been up all night having a great time, and I was in bed by 10 o'clock. So, but we're both feeling fresh and ready in different ways, and we'll get on to that. But so let's start because obviously I've got your background and I've been watching some of your BKB fights online actually and doing a bit of research as I do on my guests. But obviously we've got a mutual friend in our Shane Joy, and so I know a lot about you. But so you grew up on the council estates of Middleton and Belle Isle. You joined the
Yeah.
army where you served tours in Bosnia, Kosovo, Iraq. You also served a term at Her Majesty's pleasure, so we could perhaps talk about that. And this
Yeah.
early path of your life, you learn how to fight, no doubt how to take the hits as well. So as I said,
Yeah.
I'm just learning about BKB, which stands for bare knuckle boxing. You're renowned in
Yeah.
that field. And you woke up to this, the true nature of this reality more so in the last 4 years since the pandemic of 2020. Whereas I say we all kind of got our 2020 vision, didn't we? So for those that
Yes.
kind of don't know you, you've kind of turned your story into being a warrior for truth. But how did you get to be here? What's the story of your past, and how did it get you in Glastonbury, sat outside a cafe in the sun today, chatting with me?
So it's still not plain sailing. I've still got a lot of things I've got to deal with. But the thing that actually brought the camel's back, the actual straw that brought the camel's back was many straws. It wasn't just one straw. It was many straws from many different angles. It was mental, it was physical, it was psychological, and it was spiritual. And I'll get into that in all these different ways without even really realizing it because I didn't understand the different the different levels to things, and how it all comes together. And so I was being a bit of an arse, I mean, I'll admit to my own shortcomings, and my ego really took a hold on me. I mean, it was like I really didn't want to be beaten, and that meant being the guys on the streets in my local area, in the ring itself, in conversations. I like to debate people because why not? And why not ask questions? Because we need to ask questions out there. People don't like to ask the silly questions, but we should all be asking the silliest questions because that's where we get the best answers. And
Yeah.
yeah, I was on a bit of a warpath at the time. I'm not going to go too far into it, but I was on a warpath and I was losing my mind in all honesty. Like I was like a fucking dog with a bone. I wouldn't let it go. And then and it was affecting my home life. It was affecting my personal life, but my professional life as well with the boxing, and just in general, it was really really pulling my world apart. And I went through a dark night of the soul, and it was a fucking gruesome one. Makes me feel a bit upset even on about it, but um, subsequently when I woke up, I lost. Well, I say lost. What fell away was meant to fall away. I wasn't with my wife anymore. I left the house, the family home. My little boy was torn between us both, and it it subsequently ended with me losing my little boy. I hadn't seen my boy for 2 years, and so that's what got me on the spiritual path basically. And I woke up for my boy. I literally woke up because my boy needed his dad to start being a bit more truthful about himself and what's going on around us. And I started to see the elections in America, and I thought that was pretty dodgy. I started to see that there was a lot of stuff going on with the CIA and the FBI, and they're all in it together. Some people don't see it as deep as that, but I kind of clicked on quite fast, and I realised my son needs his dad to start being more truthful. So I did that, and the truth fucking hurts to people that don't want to hear it. But those that want to hear it, they'll soak it up like a sponge because they thrive for that knowledge, they thrive for that truth. Because what's the point of living if it's not for the truth? We've all been living and lying down and dying for the lie instead of living and standing up for the truth. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, man. So it's been a roller coaster. It's not been easy at all. It's and why would it be? Why would it be easy? Because if it was easy, every fucker would be doing it, wouldn't they? So
That's always a question of mine. Yeah, if it were easy, everybody would be doing it. And it says, "Straight is the gate, narrow is the way, and few there
yeah,
be that find it." And I think, like I said in the intro, and I do like my intros, but I find it fascinating people that kind of perhaps had a slight awareness or whatever, but as soon as they did that first lockdown, boom, and
yeah,
the veil's kind of gone, and that, and you've continued that forward because spirituality, man. We were just saying to me, it's not all light and love. Hence, the dark matters, the dark
no, no,
side, that shadow work, that
the
removing
depth,
those unconscious programs, which are called, and I've said it on other podcasts, daemons, are demons. And what we are
oh,
doing is we're projecting that out into the world because we are these
yeah,
creators. So, and I think you hit on a really good point because I know that was similar for me when I was younger. My ego from trauma built around knowing more than everybody else did, and weaponizing my logic to an extent. And I became a bit of a cock of the
yeah,
school, and always fighting for justice. I was never a bully or anything like that, but I think you talking there, I think trauma does that, as much as it's like, and that's in Gnostic thinking, this, we've got to go through this suffering with, and whether that's a trap of the demiurge, like, chucks loads of suffering at you and go, yeah, you'll fucking love it, or, sit down, shut up. But this idea of trauma kind of opening and crystallizing our third eye,
yeah,
for want of a kind of a better phrase, really. So, say, taking it back to when you were younger, and you were kind
yeah,
of growing up on the mean streets. As I say, I grew up on the mean streets of Bolton. You had to kind of get tough. You had to get hard or go home, really, because people would come at you, wouldn't they? So
yeah.
tell us a bit more about that, because and then we'll get to kind of that awakening, because obviously, people are, we want to get to know you. So,
Yeah,
and
man.
how that develops character, perhaps not like you say, particularly in the best of ways, but I think once you then go through the long dark nights of the soul and you can transmute that darkness, and you kind of catalyze it and alchemize it, then that's obviously what you've done with the skill sets that you have. But obviously, when we're younger and we lack that awareness, then that can come out in negative um actions, can't it?
Oh man.
So yeah.
First
So
of all,
you
I'd
grew up,
say
they
we
came at
need,
you and you learned how to fight, I guess.
yeah, yeah, but how do we know how to fight? We feel into it, though. If you're a fight, you'll feel into it. It's not necessarily thinking; it's more feeling. If you feel, and if you're really angry when you're fighting, you become erratic and you don't make the best moves, the best decisions. And it's like a fast game of chess is fighting. So you need to know where to put your arm, your head, where you move in and move there. So I see fighting as an emotional state. It's a free flow state. When I get into a boxing match, I'm not so much thinking, I'm more feeling. I feel into it. I, if I don't, it's a weird way of it's a weird way to try and describe it, but you just feel you just feel how the opposition, your dancing partner is going to move. You just kind of you see a little twitch in the shoulders, you see the movement of the foot, and it's not even that you're actually concentrating on that. Your body's just in tune to that moved. I move here. you're just adjusting, and it's microseconds you from one to the other. Uh, and that's how I learned to fight. I told myself one day I can box, and I started boxing. I told myself I can be a better boxer, and I got better. I told people that I want to start doing bare knuckle, and I started doing bare knuckle. And I did a fights with some local guys, and all sorted now with these guys who I had a lot of problems with in the local states. And but it was pretty fucking tough stuff what was going on. Like, I was getting threatened with this and that, and I was getting threatened with shotguns coming to my house. I got all sorts of madness, and it was just little old me. But I had people that were there supporting me if I needed them, but I didn't like to ask people for help because, well, why would you? Your ego gets the better. You think, I don't need fucking help. I can do it myself. And eventually I did call a lot of people, and I had like 40, 50 lads outside my house waiting on guard, and we were out looking for certain lads that want to have a scrap with, and basically I was looking out for murder. I wanted to kill these fuckers. Like, I mean, I might not necessarily kill them because I've got a lot more of a heart than that, but at the time, like, I felt I was gonna, but I don't think I would have done that. I really don't believe I could do that. But at the time, I'm telling myself I can fucking do that. You know what I mean? So all this pressure and stress and heartache, that creates character expression. It creates character. It creates a fucking diamond, because if you're a carbonated being and you get put so much pressure put on you, it doesn't have to be in the physical form of a diamond. We are all carbon. We are all diamonds. We see it with clarity. We see it with clairvoyance. We have crystal clear vision of what the fuck we're seeing around us. And people don't like it when you speak the truth about what you're seeing. And this is what happened. I got to the point where I'd experienced that much stuff in my childhood, in my teenage years, in the army, and in jail, that I was able to analyze and logicize what I was seeing and put it back into words. And people just say to me, "Oh, you're good with your words, And this before I actually awoke into this madness and actually start to see the spells and the sentences within the spells. So I think it was always going to be a natural progression for me. It was always going to come to this point where I was able to, decode and decipher words.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting. We touched when we spoke on the phone about your family history. Obviously, your name is Smith. So, that kind of idea of, becoming a wordsmith. And as I said again in the intro, this is how we kind of connected, isn't it? Because I've
Yeah,
got an interest in etymology and the decode of language. And you made some amazing comments. And I thought, oh my God, who's this guy? We need to get this guy on. So, and then obviously, like say, our Shane said, oh, I know Smudger.
yeah,
He's,
sure.
he's a great boxer back in the day, yada yada. So again, like this story of, I think it, like I say, it builds resilience, doesn't it? When you've kind of come through and kind of scrapped up through varying kind of different situations,
Yeah,
it creates ways in the mind, and you've taken that and you've put it into something now that obviously is extremely positive. So like getting into the words, once you've kind of come through these long dark nights of the soul and you kind of see what you see, then the veil is removed. And I always say veil is evil backwards. So we're kind
yeah,
of
yeah,
starting to that veil between our conscious and our subconscious mind. So in relation to the language, and obviously you woke up pretty much. I mean, obviously, I think you had awareness of the system being in the army and
yeah,
and seeing
yeah,
those institutions from the inside out. But you kind of woke up within the last 4 years. And then, I mean, I was, when I chatted to you on the phone, I was like blown away thinking, wow, it's so intriguing to speak to somebody who knows so much in such a short period of time.
yeah.
Because like you say, your history, and tell us a bit about your family history and your name and how you've decoded that. It's almost like you were
Right.
even when I was talking to you, it's like you were just channeling it. It's not something, it's something we know, but it's almost in our DNA or our tribe of Dan, or
Yeah, it's
we can get
intuitive.
the origin
It's
place. But
it's intelligence. It's intuitive. It's information. It's instinct. It's all inside. And when you start to believe that you've already got it, it starts to come out because you've never awakened it from the inside. You're letting yourself know, like, I know this stuff. I don't know how I know the working outs. I just know the working outs inside my mind. I can't show you the working outs, but I can in some cases, in most cases. But when I can't, go do your own fucking research, man. I'm giving the information. If you don't want to believe it, don't believe it. If you don't want to sit on your ass and actually go look and research what I'm saying, then that's fine. That's not my problem. But I'm here giving you the steer. I'm here guiding you. I'm here giving you some sort of direction. It's clear direction. So it,
yeah,
it come down to years ago when I was only a young boy. I was in Scarborough, and I remember seeing these little name tags over these key rings. And it said your name, and then it said what your name meaning of your name meant. I like, Oh, my name's got a meaning. I never knew that. I mean, I must have been that 10-year old. And I always remember at the time, like, I looked at this kid and I thought, my name means leader of 10. Leader of 10. I'm like, okay, so I'm a leader. I'm only ever going to lead more than 10. That's a bit shit, isn't it? I mean, 10 people. Oh, well, 10 will have to do. Anyway,
Totally.
um, and also 10, I looked at 10, and what is 10? Well, 10's just a repeat of the 1 and 0. It's binary code. You know what I mean? Like, it's all binary. And we are binary code at our very, very core. You know, we are literally ones and zeros. We are a supercomputer. We are the technology, the biological technology. So I got into the word thing when I woke up and I thought, why is it that some of these words are standing out to me so much? And what is in a name? Well, it's all in the name of God. All of it's in the name of God because God created an enemy for himself. God created a name for himself. God created an alter ego for himself, so we could have something to reflect on. We could have something to be related to in the opposite direction. And that's how I see God. God had to create some friction, an adversary of himself and for himself to learn, but then he had to forget himself so he could now start to learn and remember himself. And that's what we are. We're here all doing that right now. We're all remembering who we are, and we're figuring out ourselves so we can figure out the world and we can work our own minds out, work our minds, and our minds literally created the calculations to calculate and to come to the sum of all things. And we're coming to the sum of all things right now. So moving on from that, when I woke up, I thought my name's Dean. What else does Dean mean? And Dean means principal. It means headmaster. It means a leader of a faculty. And it also means faith because you ask a Muslim, what is your deen? He'll say, that means what is your faith? So my name means faith. It means leader, principal. It means head teacher, and the leader of a faculty. And I'm in charge of my own fucking faculties. And my head is the principal. And the very first thing that comes out of a woman's body when a baby's been born, the very first thing to appear is the head that leads the faculty and leads the way. So things just started to click into place, and I started to it was like all philosophizing. I was seeing the metaphorical um, view from things that like adages, phrases, words that things that have been passed on through the ages, the past ages. I'm thinking, how does it all make so much sense? And then I thought, I'm gonna look into deep into my name, and my name threw up some more ideas like William. Well, William's a very strong name. I am the will of man, I am, William. And then I looked into Smudger, because I got nicknamed Smudger when I joined the army, because that's what army person I get called when the Smith. And Smudger is like smudging. And smudging is to literally, you get rid of negative energies. You're literally ridding the area or where you are with negative energies, and it's done through smells, scents, and what is a word? Well, everything is vibration, so it's the same as a sentence because that's vibration. So, and then I started to look into my name deeper, and I thought, well, Smith isn't actually my original name; it was actually my mum's married name. And when I was 7 year old, I went to back to school after she got married, and I went from Atkinson, which is my original birth name, but my dad's name's Behan, which is an Irish name, and I changed it without asking no permission. I sent to the teacher, my name is not Atkinson anymore; it's Smith. So they changed it to Smith on the papers. Everything went up with Smith. When I got my national insurance, something come through with Smith. Everything ever since been Smith, but I've never actually changed my name on paper. So I'm not actually legally Smith, but these fuckers have let me continue being a Smith. I thought, well, it is who I am. So anyway, moving on from that, I started to look deep into my other names and my family heritage, my family lines, and that goes even deeper. And I think we should all be looking at ourselves first, because if you know yourself, you know your enemy. If you know your enemy, you know your enemy, which is your name.
Yeah,
So if you
exactly.
keep
And
your
it's that number, isn't it? Yeah, exactly.
yeah, if you keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer. To know thyself is to know thy enemy. You know your name, you know thyself,
Yeah.
and that is
And
that.
it's certainly being revealed, like as we start to learn our kind of true history. I mean, truth is very subjective, and the devil is in the
Yeah,
detail, and we don't all want to start arguing about, little details in it. But we all know we've been lied to. We can all point back to our true history now of who these families are, and watch our other videos for that. We don't have loads of time to go into that. The tribe of Dan or Lundan or Ludan. But again, this idea that the dark is necessarily bad. What I've come to kind of see in my research and my own long dark nights of the stall and my removing of the veil, and we're all becoming these Jediahs or ancient priests again, these adepts, Jedi's, and there's a balance in this force,
Yes.
and they're keeping us away from Lucifer and Satan and demonizing all the darkness. When actually, if we don't adopt the darkness and transmute it, like I was saying earlier, then we ain't getting anywhere, because that's and that's why this new age or new mage, the magi or the Merovingian,
Yeah.
it's like, look at this, don't look at that.
Look at that. Yeah,
And we've
yeah.
got to kind of encompass the
Smoke and
whole thing,
mirrors.
haven't we? Yeah, and like you said, Smudger, it is the question that drives us. It's a quest. The question is a quest. So yeah, I mean, tell us more about the language, obviously, because obviously I know your skills on this. So give us some of your favorites. Like, I don't want to put you on the spot, but because I know this kind of stuff tends to flow out of us, doesn't it? I mean, some of the things for me, especially when I, just as an example, when I started to study the law, that's when I truly got into language, because of the legalese, and learn the serpent tongue and use it against them, the double
Yeah.
meanings and everything, and the symbols. Manly P
Good
Hall,
talk.
when man learns the
Yeah.
language of symbolism, then a great veil will fall from his mind, etc., and so on. So it all started to fall down for me, and then that's when I really started to really see it. And then I moved into etymology and wordplay and word magic and etc. So even as an example, one of the big ones for me was a judge passes a sentence, because he's sentencing you, because he sentences you
In.
with words, because jurisdiction, depending on what jurisdiction you're in or what jurisdiction he's taking, that judge, see postmaster,
Yeah.
see banker. Juris means law, and diction means words. So he's sentencing you with law words. It's all like a
Yeah.
fiction in the
Yeah.
mind of men, and I was just like, well, wow, so yeah, hit us.
Right. Okay. So, first of all, just
Technical
said the
boxers.
yeah. Let's have a spa. Let's have a
Yeah.
masturbation, not a masturbation, because if we're all masturbating, it's just a big dick competition, and I ain't measuring my dick because I don't compare where I don't compete, and I don't compete where I don't compare. So, so basically, right, the world is mental, yeah. It's meant for all, and what is meant for the mind is meant for the matter. But it's not just the meant for all; it's the men tail, the tail of men, the tail of man, men tail, man tail. All right. So I started to look into words like spirit. Respiratory system is your respiratory system, your respirator heart chakra, Taurus field. Yeah, and then we're all spiritual all beings, all you spirit. Now we're all spirit you all I tie. Spirituality, spirit you all I tie. And we're all tied by the spirit, every one of us. It's the invisible force that we just know is going to be there when we open our mouths and breathe. We just know it's there because we've got the trust and faith in God, that God's going to be there. Our first and our last is our breath. And that Yah, breath inwards, is the sound wave that creates the sine wave on the face of God, which is Yah.
Yeah.
And the Yah is literally on the face of you. You are the face of God. And He creates us in His many images. I'm aging. And I'm aging nation is the nation that's aging with Him.
Yeah.
So I started to realize that you can break these words down to phonics and phonetics, and we're all just casting phonetical spells that are being squashed and space invaded so they can create a different spell or sentence. And when you sentence yourself to life or death, you're injuring yourself. You injury. So, I mean, I can go on like, honestly, I can go on like this for fucking absolute days, for weeks, for months, probably years, yeah, because it's not knowledge that I've got in there because I've been looking externally for it. I've got knowledge in there because I've been sat in the dark. I've been sat in pain. I've been sat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's hard, isn't it? Those, honestly, it's one of the hardest paths to walk. I've been on the floor, Smudger. I've said this, I'm quite open about it, but it's easy to kind of say flippantly. But when you've actually been there, and it is that walk through hell. It's a walk through Hades of your own mind, like the labyrinth of your own mind. To push past that takes like real strength and courage, and that's why a lot of people don't want to go there. They can't do, not that they can't, but they
yeah.
can't. I suppose, it's like it's not easy, like you say, else every fucker would be doing it, right?
Hey, it's a
But
two-tier system. It's a two-tier system for a reason. You
yeah,
know
and
what I mean?
it's not. the last 2 years for me were some of my worst. I mean, I nearly didn't get back up off the floor. I really didn't. A
Yeah,
few things nearly finished me off, and I'm pretty strong. And it does create resilience, but it also creates you. It creates heart, doesn't it? It creates
yeah,
you've got to stay open as well, even in the face of all that. You've got to kind of be keep open hearted
yeah,
at the same time.
yeah,
I said, if you go, like I say, this place is hell, right? So you know, it's like you think that's air you're breathing, like in the Matrix. People think
yeah,
that hell is some other place. Nah, nah. It's something that's inside us. It's something that we're creating here. It's that kind of metaphorical, metaphysical thing.
yeah.
It's here.
I want to add on to that
We're
then. I want to add on
born
to
into
that.
this. Then we're birthed into a system where we're lied to, where men and women are pitted against each other. They break the family unit. They use sex as a weapon. You name it. Commerce,
Porn,
consumerism, literally brainwashed from being like day dot were taught a demotic cursive language, you name it. Then we get sent into a job, and job comes from the Hebrew, which means
job.
persecution. And then if you actually manage to survive all that and awaken to it and become aware and heal yourself, and not only that, then in love want to go out and aid and tell others, you have just finished the game, my friend. You have just finished the game. And that's what our Billy says. So, I
Regulators?
totally
I don't know.
admire anybody and yourself who's been through what you've been through and got to the point where you've got to. Well done,
Yeah,
brother.
man. Thank you. Thank you. So that leads me back to this actually. The main reason I woke up was for my son because I
Yeah.
was worried for him. I was petrified for him, and in that wanting to help him, I end up losing him, and now I'm fighting for someone that I'm not seeing right now, but I know what I'm fighting for. I'm fighting for him, yeah. And I have a lot of people getting up on my Instagram and my Facebook now and again, and they send a nasty little message just to dig it in and go, well, you're not seeing your son, are you? You don't see your boy. Practice what you preach, blah blah blah. I'm not going to go working for that. Like, well, they want me to work. My work is here, and I'm doing it right now. Yeah, I'm doing what I have to do to show people what's really going on. And it's a thankless task sometimes, yeah. But my son's going to know one day that
Yeah, yeah.
I'm,
No,
I'm
and,
doing
and
this
it
for him.
is it's very difficult. I mean, I've never had, I mean, the system called them children. Children means chattel, but our sons and
Yeah,
daughters, I've never had that. I mean, I suppose like I like to consider myself this might be my ego, a mother of the world, because it is hard to speak out. It is hard to walk that narrow path. And it's not like I'm going, oh my God, I'm just polishing my whole halo here. But to keep speaking out, to be resilient, like we say, and to build that resilience and
yeah,
that discipline in it. And I think the word discipline is very closely connected to disciple. And when you're becoming a disciple of this land, and when you kind of pushing back that veil, and we're like I say, we're taking things back, aren't we? We're going
yeah,
to see, it even says in scripture, and we'll get into scripted reality and what your thoughts are on that. But
yeah.
it's your scripture, your script, and it's playing out
Scripture
exactly how they
are.
want it to. So the people like us who are actually doing good in the world are seen as lunatics, heretics, and evil, whereas the evil people are seen as good, like all this woke bananas.
Yeah.
And honestly, I nearly got allegedly the police called on me last week because I offended somebody, and I was like,
Oh,
wow, this is where we're up to. So yeah, I totally feel it, and it's difficult. I mean, I can only imagine. I know a lot of people who've been affected by
yeah.
really, and then they are seen as the lunatic, like they're mad,
Yeah,
they're a
of course,
conspiracy
yeah,
theory.
because we're the minority. It's a minority. You ask a crazy man to prove you wrong, 99% of the time he will. But they'll lock him up instead. So I,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't mind being crazy. I'm very weird, but weird just means supernatural, so I'm just being supernatural. And
yeah,
um
yeah,
and there's so
yeah,
many things you said. When you're talking, what happens in my mind is you're hitting
yeah.
words, and these words that you're hitting, I'm like I can go off on so many different tangents on that many different words you just said then, like daughter, daughter her, daughter mother Gaia, when you have your beat earthing day, like you said the other
Yeah,
day on your birthday, yeah. And then we got the brother,
yeah,
the broth of her. Broth is a soup, nutrients, proteins, and we broth her for the door to her to give spiritual birth for a spiritual doorway, yeah. Now, if I tell you
yeah, yeah.
this, a man has a bell end, and how do you ring that bell? Well, you put a ring on it, ring a ding ding. You put it in the woman, the holy of holies, the holiest of holies, and
Which I
and that bell gets rang. When that bell
Yeah.
rings, you ring a certain chord, a certain note, it creates a flash in the pan, a total eclipse of the heart, and that is love.
Yeah.
So, so I mix a lot of different ideas, philosophies, um, metaphorical angles. And to be honest with you, I'm not even educated by the system. So sometimes I might sound like I ain't got a clue what I'm on about, but in my head, I can see what I'm saying, so you can watch what I'm saying. I watch what I'm saying, so you can see what I'm saying. And if you don't get it in one way, I'll find another way to fucking express what I'm saying, so you get it. Because
Yeah.
I'm a multifaceted thinker. I'm omnipresent at all times. I'm always got how many things that I can throw at you, or you throw at me, and we can bounce back and have a mass debatation,
Yeah.
because we should be
Yeah.
debating the masses on what's going on. Um, like honestly, right? There's things I could tell you now that would fucking absolutely blow your minds. Here's one. Come down here as babies, yeah, we don't know words. We just know how to babble. The first thing you do to manipulate your mum and dad is you cry, you use your tongue. The first thing you can use is your tongue. And the very last thing you can use is your tongue. And your tongue is your sword, your password. Yeah, brother. Thank you, my man. Yeah, yeah, you're right, you were. Yeah, man. So, happy solstice. So, so basically, I don't know what then. Just saw a little cute baby then. So,
Words. I think we're on the words and swords because it's the
oh yeah,
same
was it?
word,
Yeah,
isn't it? Words and
yeah, yeah.
swords, you
So,
know.
So the word is God, God is the word, and the word is spoken through the spirit. The spirit is in the respiratory system that puts the spirit in the heart, and the heart speaks through the mind.
Yeah.
And if the mind isn't coherent with the heart, then there's no coherence, and you're not hearing what you're really saying. So I
Yeah.
started to like put the things together, and I thought, well, actually, if word is God and God is word, and you can't actually reason or rhyme with anything until someone teaches you spellings to spell in on yourself, not spell it out actually for yourself, then you can't reason and rhyme unless you can speak to yourself in your own mind, but you can't speak to yourself unless you've got something to speak to. You got some sort of, you've got the yin and yang in your head. You got the feminine, masculine, the devil, and the angel. So when I hear my voice in my head, 1 second, what's that? Yeah, I'm doing it now, brother. Yeah, man. Yeah, what you eat? Yeah, what you eat? Yeah, man. So I've been doing it all around the tour, man. Every time I see someone, I go, yeah, what you eat? And you are what you eat, because even if you're digesting with your eyes, with your ears, with your skin, you become the toxins you're actually digesting. And if you fill yourself with shit, you'll be full of shit forever.
Yeah.
So, so,
Yeah.
so I
And I think,
realized that the voice in my head is my voice, and it's not God, but it is God, because we are God as fractals. But
yeah.
I'm not taking away the powers of the Almighty, the highest, because the highest is the highest, and the
Yeah.
highest is energy, and energy is divine, and it cannot ever lie. Energy can't lie, because energy only knows one thing: truth. So
Yeah.
I then started to realize that if word is God, and without words, we're not communicating and getting community, common unity, we're not getting communion, common union. We're not getting all the things that we need when we communicate, because the key is communication, communicational key. And if we start to get the key and we start to communicate properly again, we get the key to the prism cell, and we get ourselves released from this fucking madness.
And I think that's like a really cool thing to say because I get that one with the prison or prism cell that we
Mhm.
are in, and this is why they put us in jail in a cell. We have cells in our body, it's that kind of sine wave of time, I believe, the
Yeah,
zodiac wheel of time. These archons, these wanderers, this authority or this O above, which is the gold, and we are the gold. They came to mine, and in the
yeah,
beginning was the
the
word,
soul.
and the word is frequency. So they know if they trap us in lower frequency, they keep us like, like say eating toxic food, breathing toxic air, being in toxic relationships, toxic, then they keep us in that lower state, in that lower frequency. And we when we start to, like you say, we start to remove those programs, and we're beginning to decode the words and the binary code of this place. And the prism cell is the light, light, or King Lu, the light, the sigil of
Yeah,
Lucifer is exactly how we perceive light to our eyes. And we're so busy looking at this. And like I say to people, yeah, it's not about being apathetic or, ignoring what's going on. We've got to take right action. But it's also about being of the world, not in it, and understanding that actually we need to look at the dark, just as you've gone through your long dark night of the soul smudge, as painful as that is, painful as mine is. And I'm sure I've probably got another one left. Who knows? There's always something else down the corner, but I feel I'm getting there. And like you say, then we're beginning to kind of remove ourselves from the script. We're starting to be a player character rather than a non-player character,
Yeah,
and just
you're the
have
main character.
because like you say, it's about communion and it's about a communion with the divine. But what they've got us doing is they've got us worshipping, because it's maritime, at the altar, like alter egos, and they've got us taking all our power and giving it outside of ourselves and in these victim savior templates. And that's why the church offers salvation. That's why it offers salvage in Bona Vacantia, the Vatican, the Dog Star, the Papa, the Canis Major, the Orion Group, the Anunnaki, whatever's kind of come to, in our myths, come and enslave the minds of men. And we just have begun to think that this is what we are, when we know that we're kind of something far bigger than that.
I think we're gonna need a. I think we're gonna need a bigger boat. We're gonna we're gonna need a. There's a big fucking shark. I'm swimming with the
I
sharks,
think
me.
this.
Look. I've took the armbands off. I'm not in the shallow end anymore. I'm swimming deep with the sharks, man. Deep diving, yeah. And I think we're gonna need a good few 2 hour podcasts point because
We
there's
are,
so
we
many
are.
there's so much I can fucking divulge on the things I know, and it's my facts, and therefore it's my knowing. But you see, a belief is a doubt of someone else's, whereas a fact is your knowing. And the truth doesn't give a fuck about your opinion, and the facts don't give a fuck about your views.
Yeah, yeah. And I think,
There's
like
only
you
one
said, that
truth.
we're all a bit weird. We're all a bit weird over here, but weird actually also means etymologically the fated ones. So you've got to be
Yeah,
weird to get out. You've got to be weird to kind of create those new neural pathways and
yeah.
go,
You
hang
don't
on.
be a carbon copy, do you? Who wants to be a carbon copy, man?
No, see
Who
that.
wants to
What do,
play
what do you
Snap?
think?
Who wants to play
What
Snap
do
with the
you
next
think,
door neighbour?
Smudger, about scripted reality? Do you think we live in it? I know we touched on it when we spoke on the
Yeah.
phone. What do you think about
All right.
scripted reality?
So I'm gonna fucking. I might. This might blow your mind. But certainly, when I thought about it, it blew my mind. I was just thinking about it. So yeah, and it'll blow a fuse. So so imagine this. I've told this. I've told this to a few people now, and it really, really resonates with me. Like, oh yeah, fucking hell, that makes sense. It's just a lot of conceptualizing. You have time to think, and when you think, you thought. When you thought, you thought about it. Therefore, you've fortified it. You've got in there. You've takes energy and time. You have to be in a have to get in some dark places to think some of the stuff you're thinking. You know what I mean? So, Neil, I do this a lot, and I spin off in different ways, and I fucking lose myself. So, let me just go back. You laugh, yeah, I do this a lot, because I'm fucking how much on my mind.
My
Yeah,
mind's like that. I'm such a tangent speaker. As
yeah,
in interviewing, I've had to learn to curb it. Like the first series, I think I thought I was being interviewed. It's like, let your guest speak, Jill. Well, while
honestly,
you're
like,
thinking, I mean, I wanted you to kind of decode my name. It's interesting. Obviously, my name is Jill, and Jill means child of God. Haslam is hazel tree, those that reside by the hazel trees, and the Druids of old, which would have been the Jews, not the Jews, and the
the
Jews came
use,
from land
the
because
sheep,
J is
the
Latin.
use.
Roman. They made their wands and staffs out of the wood of the hazel tree. So I thought that was really interesting and cool. And I'm Irish Nordic in ancestry. Who isn't? But it was interesting how I picked Kali, because Kali is the goddess of destruction and time. And I think we are trapped in this sine wave of time, which is why they worship
Yeah,
time. They love it. And the spell comes from High German, which is spellen, which means to tell. So I'm the goddess of destruction of time, come here to tell. And I was like, well, you can't beat that. And in numerology, my number's 15, which is phosphorus, which means bringer of light. And my first law group was
yeah, man.
called Bringer of Light. And you can't make
Really?
this shit up, right? But anyway, did you get back to your point? I babbled on. I
No,
babbled
but
on.
I found many other points to it. When you tell me about you, it's things I can say about me. So, to know, like I said, to know the world externally, externalized, or your eyes external. you need to look within and you need to find your own I that I am, that I add am, because I needed the am, so add the Adam. And I looked into my date of birth. My date of birth, so I'm actually born on World Listening Day, so you better fucking listen up. Because
Yeah,
when you've heard it by the good people, then the good people are the good shepherds that are herding you because you've heard it. So be herded
yeah.
in the right direction. And if you get
And
two
back to
ears, you take your two ears
yeah,
off and put them together, you get a heart, yeah. And the very middle of them two ears, you got the seat of God, the seat atoms. So I started to look at them words, short words, and breaking them down. And I thought, well, beat atoms, beat creates the he atoms, the heat, and the he atoms creates the me, which is the me atoms, which creates the tower for the C atoms. So God can see all the atoms. And
yeah.
I literally I can go for a tangent again. But the words can be broken. Words can be broken down so much to the phonetics because the word is the bird and the bird is rising. Because the phoenix is rising, the phonics are rising, the phonetics are rising, and my mouth is the is the tool to pass the bird from the mouth to the ear. Because my bird is my word that flies from my mouth to your ear.
Yeah. And I think we are in the age of the Phoenix, aren't we?
Yeah, we
Allegedly,
are, man.
I so, and then again, this Adam and Eve, AM, PM, AM, Eve, PM. Again, it's to do with this cycle of time. And I do believe that the Great Reset we have soft resets, but we also have great resets, which are linked to
It's
deluges and
great, yeah,
cataclysms and we,
yeah,
we are speaking out as these kind of like I say remembering it almost from our DNA as these priests and druids of old because we've been here that long and it's like hang on a minute I recognize this and anyway so that leads me back to what we were talking about I think when you lost your thread but we were going to talk about scripted reality and what you thought about that.
yeah, right, yeah, man. No, yeah, that was it. The paint, right? It's been moved. There we are, man. Thank you, brother.
Are you a
That's
homeless
paint, man.
person? How rude.
So, so, right, here we are. It's moving out of the way. What's that? So, if I give you some paint and put it in your hand now, so imaginary, put your hand out, put your hand out now, like I'm putting here we are, right? And I put it on your hand, yeah. Now you got paint in your hand. It matters, just so you know, it matters if it's water based, if it's oil based, if it's if it's I don't know, many different types of paints anyway, yeah, emulsion, whatever. Now put it in your hand, and that the type of paint I put in your hand makes a massive difference. Now I say to you, throw it to the floor, throw it to the floor. Right, you've made art, just made some art, yeah. Now you throw it with an emotion, which is your energy emotion, which is your heart. So it's not actually art, it's heart because you put your heart into it. Now, if you throw it
Yeah,
with anger, then it probably might be more sharp and more erratic, yeah. But if you throw it softly with a bit more love, it'll land maybe more smooth and more rounded, yeah. So that's your heart. Now, when was the pattern made? Was it made when it landed on the floor?
well that's like a is it like a Schrodinger is this like an artistic Schrodinger's cat conundrum.
Right, okay. I'll explain and walk you through it. So how I put that paint in your hand added to how you threw that down. So therefore, I helped make that pattern. The type of paint that I give you also changed how the pattern would formulate on the floor. So also the paint made the difference. So the guy who made the paint, whose mum and dad even made him, they made the paint, and their
Yeah,
hearts and his heart and my heart and your heart all created that heart piece. And it was always going to happen like that because that is the preordained, predestined divinity because there's nothing that's chance and coincidence. There's no random acts of kindness or hatred. Everything's happening, so they can have dark and light. We're gonna have ebbs and flows, ups and downs, left and right, day and nights. Because if we didn't have that, we'd have no depth, we'd have no shadow, we'd have no shade. And you find the best of things in the shade and the shadow because they give you the biggest lessons.
yeah,
So
yeah.
then it leads me on to this one. So I'm going off on a tangent again. So we're here to learn our lessons. So if you've got regrets, you regret the regret you regretted because you didn't learn your lesson. Now look at the word less on. The less on I have, the more enlightened I become. So don't be more onic. Don't be more on I see. More on I see is moronic. So everything you've done in your life should be done with no regrets. Because if you've done the worst of things, the most disgusting of things, just repent, don't do it again, and learn your fucking lesson. And we can all get better that way.
Yeah. Touche to that, brother. And I think that's it. We get caught, don't we, in these cycles of, and that's low frequency, isn't it? Ruminating. And it's the same with language. Language is either in the past in the English language or it's in future tense. It's never in the present. It's never in the ever present now. And the present is a gift. So they keep us, we're never centered. We're never balanced in that sense. With
Yeah,
our babble, with the babble language that they've taught us, like you said, casting spells and talking babble from day one, really. And as we know, words have frequency, words have power. Just as we know, we're starting to all learn about cymatics and how
yeah,
it's our energy, and we are energy condensed to a slow vibration
yeah.
by tau, which is the sun and the sin or
Emit,
the sign.
yeah. So we emit light through time, and we're
Yeah,
condensed to a point where, because it's all inversions. Like you got to know that this is the
yeah,
world of duality. And when you're born when you're expected. When you're expected, you're born when you're due. When you're born when you're due, you're born on your due day, your Judaism. You're born in duality, and you're here to duet with one or the other. And we're here to be a conduit. When you're a conduit, they try to subjugate you. When they subjugate you, they're controlling your tongue and your actions are also symbols and signs. Your body language is sign nature, the signature of life. So if they can stop you from moving, talking, walking, and all the things that you should be doing as an energetic being vibrating, then silence is deadly, silence is violence, and silence is deafening. Because if we're not speaking, we're not creating the world we're in, right? Your words are infrared to create the infrastructure of the world. So your words are thermodynamic. And everything in this world needs fire because fire creates the heat that's needed for the alchemy. And we're all chemistry, we're all the mystery of chemi. And we all started off as all chemicals together, alchemical. Whoa.
yeah, good one. Yeah, mate, yeah, of course, yeah. And again, like that's it, isn't it? Learning about that it's astrotheological, it's as above, so below. I mean, as literally that the constellations fit into our landscape, that this is the Holy Land, especially with you being at the Glastonbury
Yeah,
Tor, like we said, the Taurus field, that the land outside of us reflects what's in us and it reflects what's above, what's below. So within, so without. And again, it's anatomical. Golgotha, Jesus, he wouldn't have been called Jesus. Jesus
Aisa.
is,
I think it's
yeah,
Thaisa.
it's the yeah. Well, and that's another podcast in and of itself, isn't it? What the fuck was that guy called, and what do all the names mean? I mean, that's another pod in and of itself. But yeah, the kind of like that we know that the place of the skull is our father's temple. The king dome is within. And as I always say,
Oh,
firmament literally means stubborn idiot. Firm, stubborn, amen, idiot. It's only the limitations we place on ourselves, we get in our own way. We're not transmuting that dark. We're not looking at that dark. And if we're looking at their theatre, and I say this in my live talks,
yeah,
if you're so looking at their stories, their narratives that they're telling you as a creator, and you think you're just sat watching it, then when that movie ends, your name's on the credits. And it's time for us
yeah,
to co-create the thing that we do want to see in a cheesy way, and be the change we want to see in the world, isn't it?
yeah. I think that's the buzzword that I got there was fear, a theatre. And the theatre only continues
Oh,
playing if there's people there watching. And if you're
yeah,
watching the shit they're giving you, then you're gonna fill your head with shit, digest it, process it, project it, reflect it. So
yeah.
imagine now, right? Back in the day, we didn't have no noose, yeah, no noose to tell us what's going on around the world, so we didn't talk about it. Now, when you talk it into existence, it becomes a thing because you're literally speaking it into existence. We're manifesting it. Yeah. Now, imagine if everyone just turned the TVs off, went outside into the grass, onto the grass, the mud, the soil, the sand, the sea, wherever they went, and they reconnected and reconducted themselves with their souls in the soil, reconducted their souls on the ground and grounded themselves. Maybe ommed or whatever sound frequency, sound wave we need to put out there to change the world. I reckon we'd all, with our hearts together, create a different reality. It's because people keep talking about the shit that the shit keeps coming. They're literally
Yeah,
manifesting it, yeah? Now,
it's paradoxical, isn't it?
yeah, and the very first thing you do when you're born is you breathe inwards, yeah? The word is God, and that is Yah. Y A H.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the face of God is upon your face, and the face the face of God was upon the waters. And when the waters broke, you become the waters from the waters. You divided from the waters.
Yeah,
So I believe that we are Yah or Yahuwah or Yeshua. And it's meant, I mean, people say Yahweh, but it don't matter what you're calling it now, as long as you know that Yah is your first breath.
yeah. And I think we've got to kind of ask ourselves who the God of this realm is. You know, if you look at the Old Testament, he's not a very nice dude, right? So there's this duality again, but also, where the tree of life is, and again, we're learning as this kind of, metaphysical idea of the tree of life. We're actually, our land, Albion, is the tree of life. It has 33 nodes, just as we have 33 vertebrae in our back. It literally is translated to, that's and I think that we are the fallen angels. It's always El, Raphael, Ezekiel, blah blah blah. And El is Elohim. And it
Elohim,
talks of the
plural.
scripture. We are the powerful ones. We are the ones that fell from grace. Well, I'm
Yeah.
not because I'm not from here, but that's another again, that's another podcast. But yeah, so yeah, and getting people to understand the power instead of staring at the black box, the black cube in the corner. Our phones, what are they? Black cubes. We're so busy staring at these
Yeah,
black cubes as this information,
absorbing
and then
it.
we're reflecting it back, and we're creating it. It's not them
Yeah,
or they're not doing it. I mean, they are, and we kind of know who they are now, but it's us. We're doing it. I would say you're doing it. We're doing it. And until we stop
yeah,
doing it with it will persist and it will reset. And it will reset. And it'll be, Saturn, Satan set. It will reset.
yeah, man. I like that. But I also see. I think God is the God of all, as in
Yeah.
energy is energy, and energy is energy, emotion, all. Energy,
Yeah.
motion, all. And I believe that God has to be a God of war as well, because like I said, he had to create an enemy for himself. He had to create resistance to grow. Yeah. Now, does that mean that the first fallen angel was an angle of light, an angle of light that was an angel of light, and that first angle of light was the first angle that come out of God, which was to have to have, I would say, a measurement to be measured. Yeah. Now everything's
Yeah.
calculated through numbers. Numbers are not invented. Numbers are always what here. Even the oneness is the universe, and I believe that it's God playing peekaboo with himself.
Mm.
Peekaboo. Then putting it and you're going, I'm
Yeah.
sure I've seen God. Literally God, but God also wants to play other games. He plays all these different games with us, and you just have to catch him out in the act. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a deep one. But so my belief is that we go through these cycles, these cyclical cycles, and we have to. We're made to break. Everything's made to be broken, because how would you ever learn to fix up? How would you ever learn to do anything unless you've been broken somewhere? How would you
Yeah.
put yourself back together? You need some glue, or you need to go sit down and ground yourself and think about things you've done. But people don't want to do that because it's so much hard work for them. Because they have to step away from the ego, and the ego is the thing that's edge God out. Ego edge God out. Yeah. Now, if I separate to rate you differently to me, to say you're higher or lower, then I'm now not saying you're part of the oneness. So now I'm edging God out because God is the oneness.
Yeah. And I think I call the one infinite creator something separate, perhaps to, I think, and I've said this in other podcasts, so I won't bang on about it, but like I say, I think these elites, these elven tribes, the tribe of Dan, the tribe of Manasseh, the 12 tribes of Israel, Israel is this land, that they've had these secrets and this knowledge over thousands and thousands of years, and
Yeah,
they just
illuminated.
transport their consciousness through time, don't they? It's all
Yeah,
ish and they
yeah,
kind of know that they're perceived as gods here because they've got that bloodline and that lineage, but it's apparently we came to create this place and they trapped us here. Whether we're trapped or not, I mean, who knows? But
oh, a
it's interesting
trap.
about the angels, and I think
Yeah,
that's that
what?
light and dark thing with me. You get an angel, and it's one wing in reverence to God, but they say the other wing is dipped in blood to do dark
Yeah,
biddings and stuff. I like to think I'm an angel of the light and the dark. I reckon I could go to war with my swords. But in this game, in it,
yeah,
Smudger, the swords are words.
yeah. They
You've
are,
heard
man.
it
They are.
back to that rather than
So,
laptops and pens.
so I
Get a bit
realised this,
deep.
right? The penis, the pennies mightier than the sword. The
Yeah,
penis, the
yeah,
pennies meeting the sword. Penis, pennies. Yeah.
yeah.
I,
Oh,
honestly, go from loads of different times on this. But
you can go there.
see, when we're
But
fencing, we use our swords to fence each other off. And when you fence each other off, you put each other into a pen. When you put each other in a pen, you put them into a pension. And that's what I've been
yeah,
doing. They've been turning our words into paper and putting it into pension schemes. Schemes. Yeah. So then I come on to this. If your word is bond and your bond is your trust and your word should be your word for good, then if they can take God out of your mouth and put into a paper form promissory note for you to not actually understand the full capacity of that money, or to actually have a value to that money, because £100 in your pocket is not the same as £100 in my pocket. It might be more valuable to you than it is to me. Therefore, the value's changed. Yeah.
yeah,
So that money has not got no real value ultimately, and that means that if you want to put the devil, which is the money, into the banks, and they celebrate bank holidays, and they actually celebrating bank holidays for people to pray to the fucking money.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's what they've got us trapped in. They've got us trapped in commerce. They've
Yeah.
got us trapped in consumerism. They've got us trapped in time.
Which leads on to
Uh,
this. This country is the Greenwich Mean Time marker. Great Greenwich, Greenwich, yeah. The heart shack of the world, the banks that run the world, control the revenue stream, and also the language, because our language is the language for the maritime law. Now that then leads man to law in times of lawlessness, land, air, water. Now they've been taxing on our land, the raping bastards. They've been taxing on our water, the raping bastards. Now we're going to tax it on your air, your spirit, your oxygen, God, so you can't speak. And that means you're going to have lawlessness. No solid, no gas, no liquid.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. No, that's absolutely right. And that's that idea of coronavirus, isn't it? Crown, virus poison. To cut us off from source, to cut that last part of our ether, of our connection to source and spirit. But like I always like to say, not on our watch, Smudger. So
Yeah, man. I get it,
well,
man. I
I,
get
I
it.
I won't keep you much longer. We'll have to do a part two, won't we? Because I know you're on your holidays, or your holy days, I should say. Holidays is a Roman commercial term. Your holy days down in Glasgow.
Yeah, man. To be fair, it's not an holiday. It's more of it's
Pilgrimage,
yeah, it's more of a
a
pilgrimage.
return. Yeah.
I I come down here and I connect with some of the
Holiday.
most beautiful, open-minded, and intellectual people, and I
Yeah.
start to figure out that these are my people, man. Your family ain't always blood. I mean, like the one thing that connects us all is we all have to breathe the oxygen. We've got different blood
Yeah.
types, but we all have to breathe the same oxygen. So, where's I mean, like what they're trying to do is literally trying to fucking squeeze you so you can't breathe no more. They want to construct and constrict around you. Do you know what I mean? It's like a snake that wants to fucking pull you in and stop from moving until your heart pops. And the only way the body dies is lack of oxygen.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I just
no,
want to,
breathe in life and breathe out, isn't it?
yeah,
Therefore,
man.
the life, the breath. Oh, that's
Inwards,
just looking.
outwards, forwards,
Yeah.
backwards. So
Yeah.
before I go, I just want to say, like, I just want to put a message out on this podcast. This is my first podcast I've done in a long time, like with anyone else, especially. I'm only doing my own podcast. So I want to get you on mine as well, by the way. The missing piece just started
I'd
up
love
again,
that.
and I just want to do. I'm going to drop a few little things. It's this. I'm fighting again, and I'm fighting because I feel like I have to get back up there and get back out there so I can speak how I'm speaking, and get more people on board. Yeah, because we've all got a part to play. I read the script, the costume fits, so I'm playing my part. And
Yeah, the
and the
theatre.
other thing is, for those that hate, you motivate. And if I've got a lot of haters, it means I'm not fake, I'm real. Because if you've got loads of fucking lovers and no haters, then you're just fucking many faces, yeah? I've got one face and it's me, yeah? Now, I'm fighting for my boy. People need to know this shit. I'm fighting for my son. I'm not able to do it how everyone wants me to do it in the conventional way, the satanic way in court systems where someone's going to judge you. I shouldn't be judged for being a father. No one asked me what I was going to be as a father before I went and stuck my willy in a woman. Do you know what I mean? They go, oh, I wonder how you're going to be as a father. Let's go check you. Do you know what I mean? Let's check your psyche. Let's check your past. Let's check your future. Check what you got in your mind. What you want to do in the future. I mean, no, that's getting asked. You're in the moment. You're in the present. Yeah. But then these cunts want to question me on my views, where I'm living, how I'm living, what I'm teaching my son. I'm his director. I direct him. I'm his guidance. I'm his bow, and he's my arrow. And I should be able to pull that bow back and point me in the right direction and say, "There you go, son. That's where you need to go." Yeah. And these fuckers that let us do that, they took that from us by giving our children telly instead of intelligence, tuition instead of intuition, form stuff instead of information to take that data from you, and smells like perfumes and fucking aftershaves to take away your instincts. So you can't actually smell people's pheromones, if they're right for you, if they're wrong for you, if the piss stinks so it don't stink, if it smells right for you, if the sweat smells nice and it's not your type of sweat, then you should get in there, you know what I mean? But we don't smell it anymore because they've took that from us. It's a big fucking mask. And we're all just playing our parts. We're putting the masks on. But now I believe, right, just for people to understand this, yeah, it's a big stage, yeah. The world is a stage and it's your oyster. You are a pearl. And if you stand up and take your fucking stupid mask off and actually be yourself and authenticate yourself, then you'll find that people will reconnect and things will change fast for our children, because people that think they're living a comfortable life now are going to suffer later. But people who are suffering now are going to enjoy later.
Yeah, that's amazing. And what a beautiful sentiment to leave it on. And like you say, there's different ways to box, isn't there? And as I
Yeah.
say, Smudger, we can fight or battle smarter, not harder. And that's exactly what you're doing. And you're doing it for the love of your son and for all the right reasons. And it's a beautiful thing. And thank you so much for taking some time out of your holy day down there at Glasgow at the Tour. Have a beautiful, wonderful end of the week. We can't say weekend, can we? Because that's you being weakened by the working week. But let's not start that. We'll have
let's
to do a
let
part two.
let's end the week. Let's end the week well and get all these
Exactly.
days.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
thank you so much. It's
Thank
been
you, Callie, man. I really
absolutely
appreciate it.
enlightening.
Um,
Yeah.
I just want to give a massive shout out to yourself, man. Like I don't know how I dropped on your page, but I know I've been putting my little scripts in there, and I've gained some attention from yourself, and it's great stuff, you know. And you're doing a massive job. You're doing a great job.
Oh,
I wish there were
thank
more of
you.
you. I wish.
Oh, thank you. That's
I'm,
super cool.
I'm a
And
very
I
I'm
love
a very
connecting, as well with you and the people that the channel brings. Sometimes it's not easy, sticking your head up above the parapet, but
fan.
it
Yeah,
has its just rewards, and this chat's just one of them. So, it's been super. And it's just great to connect. And I know you're doing some like live events, aren't you, as well? I'll put the links to your channels and where people can come and find you. And then if you want to kind of come and meet Smudger, I hopefully may turn up at a couple of them when we get our diaries together. So it's just brilliant, isn't it, for us all just to keep
yeah,
connecting,
man.
keep planting seeds, keep getting it out there, keep speaking out and doing it from a place of love and from a place of the dark as well.
Yeah, man.
And bringing all that power to the play, and it is a theatre and it is a play. So let's
Yeah, man.
play it. Let's play it with the right action and good heart, as I
Yeah,
say.
man. Let's keep playing the pantomime. He's behind you. Oh no, he isn't. Oh yes, he is. Yeah, man. Callie, thank you very much, darling. Have a
Yeah,
great
you
end to
too,
the
my
week,
love.
and I'll
It's
catch
been
you
an
soon.
honor. Have a great
Bye,
one.
guys.
And thanks everyone for watching. See you next time.
Yeah, man. Bye.